So what if I told you that my best friend was a girl
I better be that
and
girl.
that girl is not you?
Okay.
What
Let
would you
me-
say?
Let me get my fists ready.
'Cause you are the best thing that's ever happened to me.
First of all, I know that's not true.
Correct.
But I would have some problems with that.
You would have some problems. Why would you have problems? What's wrong with me having a best friend that's a girl that's not you?
I think that is a foothold for the devil.
And I can even take it back a step because I can just say, what would be wrong with me having a good friend that's a girl that's not you?
Well, hold on. Do you have good friends that are girls that are not me?
I have the friends that I have that are female are either your friends,
You're welcome.
right? Or
Because I can trust them.
right?
Duh.
Or are connected to my good friends. Like might have a best dude friend who has a wife, and I'm like, hey, yeah, we're
Yeah.
friends. I'm not going to hang out with that person or communicate with that person outside of anything that's necessary.
Yeah.
Right?
So I'm not opposed to you having friends that are girls or even a good
Yeah.
friend that is a girl. But my opposition comes in when boundaries can be crossed because there is a girl who is emotionally connected to you in a way that only I should be connected to you.
Exactly. Because affairs don't begin in the bedroom. They begin in our heart.
100%. That's why they call them emotional affairs.
100%. You think that it just shouldn't be a thing.
Well, the funny part about that is I had a ton of guy friends when we were in high school.
You were the coolest.
Thank you. I don't know about that, but
You were.
You married me, so you have to say that.
Because no, I married you because you were more down to earth than other girls. You weren't interested in all the other girl things. That's why I think a lot of the dudes could be like, oh yeah, Erica's awesome because she knows how to like make fun of somebody. She knows how to be like, but that's what guys do, especially high school guys. It's like, how do you roast somebody? How do you test somebody's character in the sense like can they handle a joke against them? And you were just right there ready to give a joke. And that's probably what made you kind of able to have a lot of guy friends.
Well, I just didn't love all the drama. So I think
that's also true.
But I think as I got older and as we began a relationship, those friendships definitely took a back burner.
Yeah.
And I remember, do you remember? Of course you do, because you gave me an ultimatum.
Had to.
And what was the ultimatum? Do you want to share?
Was it, we can't be friends anymore?
Yeah.
We got a date or I'm done.
Yeah. And you were my best friend. And I was like, well, you can't give me an ultimatum and I don't want to lose you. So fine, I'll do your ultimatum. But I was mean. Like, okay, I'm not helping my case when you just said I was mean. Then I was like, no, I'm not mean. But I was mean because I then went out of my way to basically interact with all the guys like who were just my friends. But I knew that me spending extra time with them or like sitting next to them in chapel instead of you like would make you hurt because I was.
Yeah, I do remember you hurting my feelings. Not that you mention it.
And I'm sorry, but I didn't like your ultimatum. I was like, that's
and how
not
interesting that you say you don't like drama, yet you are stirring it up.
None of this is aging well for me, but I think that was a glimpse for me of seeing the dangers of having opposite sex friendships that are placed at a same, equal to, or even slightly above level as the person you're pursuing. Because if I'm having a bad day, you should be my person.
That's
if
right.
it's not one of my girlfriends that I'm going
Well,
to.
what would you say to the person who does say it's not a big deal? Like, what is the danger in your perspective?
Well, I know we have several friends who got married around the same time that we did who did not see problems with this issue. And they spent a lot of times with their opposite gender friend. And sometimes that led to the spouse feeling abandoned or unimportant. Or sometimes that led to an affair happening. And then that totally demolished the relationship too. And ended up in a divorce. So people who don't see a problem with it, I think, are wanting to pursue their flesh. And they're not thinking about their spouse at the level that they should. And that's going to be problematic, no matter how you spin it.
Because these boundaries are meant to protect.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
It's a boundary that's meant to protect you from yourself.
Well, it protects your family, especially if you have children. It protects their hearts from having to be caught up in the tornado that having unhealthy boundaries can create. I think there's a part of us that...
Yeah, because sometimes it's like we can feel like boundaries are intended to restrict us rather than protect us.
Yeah.
And somebody hears that and first instinct is, I don't need that restriction. I'm strong enough to overcome it.
Famous
rather than
last words.
saying that boundary is actually meant to protect me from making a choice that could damage. And it doesn't even have to be a physical choice. It can simply be an emotional choice. Like if I came home and said, or it didn't say anything. I was emotionally dumping problems that maybe even me and you were having, or even just problems that I was having in my life with another girl, and never told you. And then you find out that I've been doing this, you would feel very hurt. Your first question would be, why can you tell her and you can't tell me?
The first question would be, have you lost your mind?
Because I'll help you find it.
I would want to know why you thought that this was an unsafe place.
Right.
Right. But also why I wasn't your first person to go to. And then I would want to know, are you talking about our relationship?
Yeah.
Are you talking about our sex life? Like, where is the bounds if you are feeling that emotionally safe with someplace that's not me, that's not our home? What boundaries are you really crossing?
Yeah.
And if those boundaries continue to go uncrossed, what's going to be the damage? And I imagine it's going to be pretty significant.
It would be significant. So if we, why would the only, it's not necessarily that it's the only relationship you need to have is with your spouse, but at what point, if there's somebody who's in the middle of this and having an argument and they're trying to like prove like, no, I should be able to have friends with the opposite gender. What advice would you give to that person as to why they shouldn't?
Leave. Okay. In all seriousness, I think that's concerning to me. I think that's a red flag. I think if you were to do that to me.
No, I'm saying the couple's married. Leaving's not an option.
Oh, I don't know if I agree with that.
Oh, well,
Because
no
sometimes
lines have
leaving
been
is an
crossed
option.
after, for sure. Leaving could be an option. I'm just saying they haven't crossed any lines that the Bible would be like, yep.
And
this
they're
is just discussion.
Okay. So for example, I would say to you, hey, this makes me feel uncomfortable. The amount of times you're texting this person, the amount of times you're DMing on Instagram, you're sending TikTok to this person. I can't get you to respond to bring our kid back milk. But if she texts you, you're sending smiley face
Isn't
hearts.
that the thing? Like sometimes it's always outside the home. It would have to drive a girl nuts if it's like outside the home. Like they can't get their own husband to talk to them or share something about them, and then they go outside the home, like at the soccer game, and all the other wives are like, "Your husband's just so great. They're just the best. You wouldn't believe they help me do. They help little Johnny with his shin guards." It'd be like.
And what do? Most women are like, yeah, he's so great.
Oh, yeah, he is
While
great.
inside internally seething, like
Right.
if you
they're
actually
great
knew.
to you.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's at the heart of this. If this was our real life situation, I would make it very known to you very quickly and very plainly that this is unacceptable behavior to me.
Mm-hmm.
There are female friends that we both know. We both know the list, and it's
There's
very
community.
short.
You can, if you really need a female friend,
Yes.
Have it in the community
And
that
you
you're
have
in.
them, yes, and
Yep.
we can hang out with them together. There's even some friends that I wouldn't think twice about, like if you hung out with them. I wouldn't, but you're not gonna go initiate and be like, "Hey, let me go hang out with Sue." You would never do that. I think it's interesting if I'm at home with the children that you impregnated me with. And you're over here having beer
Hey,
with Sue.
Let's go have a drink, Sue.
But people allow
Erica's
that.
got the kids.
People allow that into their relationship, and that's why I said it's a foothold for Satan to enter in.
That'd be
You're not putting up, but
wild.
it's wild, but people do it, and you're not putting up the protection that I think is wisdom that the Lord should be giving you to say,
Yeah.
my wife's not here.
Yeah, and
I shouldn't be
ultimately
here.
you should, if you're struggling with this in the sense that your wife and you are not on the same page. You think that it's okay and your wife doesn't, or your wife thinks it should be okay and you don't think it is. This is a yield point where you simply have to say, your concerns matter more than mine, because it's unnecessary. I can get any kind of friendship fulfillment from a male friend, right?
Yeah, and if
They're equipped to fill that bucket
Yeah.
for a man, and like your females are built to fill your
Yeah.
friendship bucket for you. That it's not a needed thing. It's not like your wife's demanding you to stop like drinking water. It's not like it's a need that you're being abused of.
Right.
You don't need. I don't need a female friendship
Yeah,
outside of my wife.
yeah.
She doesn't need a male friendship outside of me. So yield. It's simple. You just have to say, you and your concerns are what matters most.
And I think that the issue is at the heart of this is like the protection that you set up, right? You don't give your kid a tablet without any parental controls on it and say, have fun, go to your room for 6 hours and, I'll see you in a little bit. And you just hope that they don't stumble on something they shouldn't. You put up the guardrails because you love that person and you want to protect your child from being exposed to things way too early that could later be detrimental. This is the same thing with your marriage. If you are going on social media and you are actively scrolling and looking at other women and friending them, and you're already setting up a soft play area in your heart to make it easier to become emotionally attached to someone, which will then make it even easier to invite cheating into a relationship that is supposed to be sacred, into an emotional relationship that is supposed to be meant for one woman.
Right.
And that is absolutely a no-no.
Right. Absolutely. And what a heck of a thing to do. Like, you give your wife at home like all the worst parts of you, like leaving your underpants around the house, having to work out like who's doing the grocery shopping, do all the give them all the worst parts of you, and then go and give the best parts of you to some girl who never would have to deal with the worst parts of you. I'm gonna go have a friend who we're gonna have a ton of fun with, and we're gonna just do all the fun things. I'm gonna do all the fun things with her, and when I get home, I'm gonna be too tired and just give you all the worst.
But do you know
What
the
it would be?
reality? But
Yeah.
the reality of that situation is these women who do that, like, they're not seeing that this guy, he's probably out with you getting drunk because he's not giving his wife the best of the things. And she's probably tired and there's probably tension and conflict and he needs a break and she needs a break. But if you actually saw who this person was 24/7, You wouldn't be over here accepting his DMs.
Nope. That's the point. That's why people look at affairs and they're like, they say that they're fun or they're whatever, because you don't actually have to deal with reality. They escape into this fantasy world where you don't have to think about the kids' soccer practice and navigate, okay, I got to get all the stuff out of this car into that car, and I've got a wife who's doing this and that, like all the normal day-to-day interactions that actually cause cause friction and have to be overcome and worked through. You're not having to do that with the person that you have the affair with. You just get to do the fun thing. So it's not even a real world.
Yeah.
It's just a fantasy
And
world.
here's my call to women who you might find yourself in this situation. If you see a guy who is married, actively dating, and they're sliding into your DMs and they're trying to pursue, just run away. Like, hightail it out there, because that man, whatever he's trying to do on his wife with you, he'll probably do to you at some point. But also, as some kind of women, like, can we just protect each other? Can we just have some integrity? Even if you, like, don't follow God or you're not religious, like, as a woman, if that was your daughter and some men, slid into, right, and you would be all over your son-in-law. Like, what did you do to my daughter? Da, da, da. Like, you have some respect, too, for yourself and also for that woman at home with that man's kids, and you run the other way. And also for these men, like, sometimes, I know you said leaving's not an option, but sometimes I just think, like, I know God sets aside sexual sin. Like, you can leave if there's if there's an affair, there, right? He sets it aside. But sometimes I don't understand why, if you're going to take a woman and you're going to cheat on her, if you're going to emotionally damage her, just leave.
Yeah.
It'll be hurtful. But then she doesn't have to compare it to this woman and think about this woman and how were you with this woman and what did she have that she didn't? I don't know. I think there's something kind about just walk away and don't blow up her whole life with cheating and giving your heart away to someone that you were never meant to give your heart away. And what irks me so much is when Christian men and women do not do right in this area. Because we should know better, right? We should want to look differently than the world, and we don't. And do people make mistakes? Yeah, but this can be a very costly one. And is there grace and forgiveness? Yes. Yeah.
But there's also consequences.
A lot of consequences.
Because that's especially with sexual sin.
Yeah.
The Bible's clear that it's just different. The person who sins sexually sins against their own body. You are actively hurting yourself in a different way and hurting the people around you in a different way, and hurting the spirit of God who rests inside you in a way that's different when you sin sexually.
Yeah.
And that's just the fact.
And the kicker is that they don't even usually get together after they have had these emotional or physical affairs, because it would be too painful. But you already destroyed so much. You destroyed trust. You destroyed a person's heart. You probably destroyed your family. I mean, cold play kiss cam. You undid worlds.
Well, in the Proverbs, which I think is really a great place to look at, where you're going to get wisdom, where he's talking to his son and talking about how he's looking out his window or out his lattice and he sees a foolish man. And what does he do? He goes near her house. He goes near the prostitute's house. And he's saying, don't go near her house, man. Don't go near the door. You reroute yourself. It doesn't matter if it's on the way home, but the implication in this proverb is that the man was rerouted himself to go by the house, even though it might not have been on the way home, just for the sake of maybe something might happen if I go by her house. Right. And this, but I think that's the principle here with why you shouldn't have friends with the opposite gender. It's that boundary. Don't go near the person's house. Don't reroute yourself. Create the boundary so that you don't end up, again, as the Proverbs would say, like in the bird net, being caught up in going to die, like that, because that's what ends up happening when you go down that road.
And because sometimes marriage is hard and messy, and you may be falling out of love, and if you haven't set up that proper boundary early on, that is how Satan enters your home, your marriage, and dangles the fruit over here, the house over here of the prostitute, right? And you're yearning for connection, for somebody who sees you, who loves you, who makes you feel alive again. And that's when you start wandering in a direction of destruction.
I know on fire, 'cause you kept me every time I mess it up. And everybody says that things are bound to change, but I hope they stay the same, 'cause you are the best thing that's ever happened to me.